Hey there, welcome back to Gardening with Sylvia and Friends. I'm Sylvia, and if you are new to the channel, your timing is perfect because today we are planting up my Japanese Boxwood Parterre. That sounds so English garden, doesn't it? I love it. So let me show you what we're going to be planting. We're doing these beautiful caladiums. Look at the size of these leaves, you guys. These are beautiful. I'll tell you a little bit more about this caladium in a moment. And we're also doing these beautiful, sweet little dainty pink begonias. Let me give you a budget tip. If you are shopping for plants and you're going into one of those retail big box stores, go straight to the clearance section first. That's where I got these guys. There's lots of different plants to choose from. So I would start there because you can get some really, really good deals. Okay, let me show you around this Japanese boxwood parterre. You'll see here in a second, this is a very small garden, you guys. And for the most part, it is squared off, except in this one little area my design follows the walkway, so it curves a little bit here, but otherwise the design is pretty squared. These are Japanese boxwoods. I love them. They are so beautiful, but I have to tell you that they are so prone to disease. They get a fungus that's called blight. And if you don't catch it early, get try to treat the blight if you can, but if not, remove the plant, because I can tell you from firsthand experience that that blight will move from plant to plant and you will have a garden full of dead boxwoods. That said, I still love them and I try to do a good job of keeping an eye on them to make certain that they stay pretty healthy. Now, when I put these boxwoods in, maybe about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we just let them do their thing, right? And get as tall as I felt comfortable with. We had this statue in the garden, and so at one point the boxwoods actually had grown to just below this basket. So compared to the height that they are now, they were under, I mean, they had gotten tall enough to get just under this basket. So I'm going to say maybe 3 feet, 3.5 feet or so. It really was beautiful because I turned it into a rose garden. I was planting Belinda's Dream and the Tiffany Rose, and they were all growing up so tall and beautiful. Down below, I had shrub roses. I'd brought in daylilies and all sorts of beautiful ornamental plants. I loved it, and so did the critters. I would spray to try to keep them away. Nothing worked, and at some point it became an all-you-can-eat overnight salad bar. I lost the fight. So I moved my roses and my daylilies and all of my other plants to another part of my garden and decided I got to figure out plan B. I go on a lot of garden tours looking for inspiration. And so as it turns out, I saw on one of those tours a Japanese boxwood parterre. It was simply beautiful. I loved the low maintenance and how elegant, how English garden it looked. And I thought, well, you know what? I already have the boxwood planted. Why not? So for a time, I couldn't quite figure out what to put in my Japanese boxwood parterre because the ones that I saw all were growing pretty much herbs. And those that did have plants established, you know, flowers, they didn't have issues with critters eating their plants. So what I did was just put down mulch, pine straw, and then I brought in pots like what you see here. I brought in those pots to give me some color, and that worked for a while. Then I decided to try caladiums because of the tree that I already told you about with the filtered sun there. And I started with these guys. This is Miss Muffet. Can you see her? Sort of a lime green with the little splotches of pink, like a hot pink. It's beautiful, but they don't get very large. And I wanted big leaf caladiums that would give me sort of a mass planting look. So I went to the store in search and discovered Fannie Munson. You guys, look at her. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that veining on there. And look how big the leaves are. It's bigger than my face. So I picked up about 8 or 9 of the Fannie Munson. The label says that they do well in part sun. So I'm hoping it will do well. I went back to get some more because I love these so much. And these were next to the Fannie Munsons. Oh, isn't that beautiful? This one is called Roselight. So today we're going to plant more of the Fannie Munson and the Roselight. And I'm hoping together they will give me the mass planting I'm hoping for. So let's get to planting. Okay, so it's been about 25 minutes since I sprayed mosquito repellent because the mosquitoes are biting. The odor is not nearly as strong, and so I think it is pretty safe now to get working in that flower bed. Also, you will notice that I've made a wardrobe change, right? I am sporting one of my husband's exclusive sweatshirts from his lawn care collection. Don't tell him, okay? Okay, so here is what we are going to do. We are going to plant those beautiful caladiums that I showed you, the Fannie Munsons and the Roselight. And we're also going to, and that's going to go in this Japanese Boxwood Parterre. And then we have those pink clearance begonias that I got. I got about 8 or 9 of those, and we're going to plant those in a little area just opposite of the parterre, okay? I am so excited. Let's get planting. So I like to get all of my holes dug out first and then just pop in the plants. Okay, so let's get this Fannie Munson into the ground. It's going to be so beautiful with the huge leaves, beautiful pink and green, and hopefully we'll get that mass planting that I'm hoping for. Okay, that's another one in. And we are almost done. Another rose light here. All right, give them a nice soaking so that their roots can start rooting into the ground and thriving. They're going to be so beautiful. I can't wait to show you maybe in a week or so how they're looking. All right, let's get those begonias in the ground. So let me tell you a little bit about this area that we're going to start in next. It's a little embarrassing because it's been a little neglected. To be honest, it's more like a nursery for me. Do you have that in your yard as well? A place where plants that you get those on clearance, you just store them and they hang out and hang out and hang out until at some point they take root. That's happened with some of these. If you can see behind me there, those 2 trees are oak leaf hydrangeas. One of them has those white blooms. And then next to that is a Japanese maple tree. Down at the bottom here, I have some hydrangeas, and I also have a couple of hostas. So at some point I've got to get these in the ground somewhere. To be honest, at least one or two of these plants have taken root into the ground already. They're doing so well here. On the other side of my house, it's a shade area, and so that at some point is where all of these plants are going to go, but they're actually thriving right here, so we're just going to leave them alone. There are lots of boxwoods here as well, since it's right across from the Boxwood Parterre, and these boxwoods were put in at the same time that we put the original boxwoods in. So every time we give those a trim, I give these a trim as well. I think I need to trim them down just a little bit before I put in my clearance boxwoods. So let's get started. So I trimmed up the boxwoods to make room for the begonias to grow, and now I'm just loosening up the soil. These are the, let's see, the double up pink begonias. They look a little burned, sure, but I want you to look at that price. $6.98. You see that? I got these 8 begonias at the big box retail stores. I went all the way to the back in the clearance section, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a red line that goes through there. That's because these were marked down 50% off, so half of that $7. Man, those bright green leaves look so good against that dark brown mulch, and when those bright pink blooms start blooming, it's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait. Wow, what a fun day I had in the garden today. I am so glad that you guys were along to keep me company. I hope that you were inspired by a few of the plants that we put in, like the ones we put in here in the Japanese Boxwood Parterre. Remember the Caladiums? We put in the Roselight Caladium, and I also put in the Fannie Munson. There she is, the Fannie Munson. And over on the other side, in my other boxwood bed, I put in the double up pink begonia. And remember, don't pay that price. I got these on clearance, so remember to check the clearance aisle when you go into the stores. I had so much fun, you guys, and I hope that you will join me back here for my next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Until then, happy gardening.